So today is the so today is the seventh session of our Automation Vidyalaya series, where we will learn about email automation using UiPath Studio. So on board, we have Gitanjali Mishra as the speaker, who is currently working with Infosys as a technology analyst with over 4 years of experience. And talking about myself, I am Shantanu Shaha, currently pursuing BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Technomen Salt Lake. So let's get started with the session. And if you all have any doubts during the session, then you all can raise your hands in the chat or directly unmute yourselves and feel free to ask any doubts during the session. Okay. So over to you, Gitanjali.
Yeah. Thanks, Shantanu, for the introduction. Hi all, I'm Gitanjali. Today I will be talking about email automation. We're going to keep it as basic as possible so that you can grasp as much information as possible and take away some good things about email automation. I forgot to ask, how are you all doing today? Everybody doing good? Overburdened with information for the past few days, or everything going well? No response. Everybody doing bad?
Everyone interact. We are all.
Okay. Feel free to interact. Feel free to put in how you're doing in the chat.
I'm good, right?
Okay, perfect. Okay.
Yeah, this is Ram from Hyderabad.
Hi, Ram. How is Hyderabad? Is it?
It's raining here. It's raining.
Yeah,
here.
It's raining pretty bad in Kolkata as well.
Okay.
Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's visible.
Okay. Okay, so email automation, what are the things that we're going to learn today? We're going to understand how to, set up our UiPath Studio workflows for email automations. We're going to see how we can retrieve email messages by using different ways, different protocols. Okay, we're going to see how we can fine-tune this retrieving by filtering the emails. If the emails have any attachments, how we can download that. Then we're going to see how, what are the different ways of sending emails and how can we, send a much more complex emails using UiPath Studio. Okay. So first of all, why do we need to automate emails? What is the purpose of automating emails? Basically, if there is a very big business process, a business, right? Big multinational or any organization for that matter, a lot of communication needs to happen back and forth, and all of that needs to happen through a proper channel, right? So earlier it used to happen through files, right? Back in the days when computers were not a thing. When emails came in, they became the formal way of communication, and these are still the leading formal way of communication when it comes to businesses. So even in your colleges, you must be seeing that most formal information comes through emails to you. And if you want to, ask for leave from your professors, you have to send in an email, right? So yeah, email is still quite the, accepted formal way of communication, which is why a lot of things can be automated within an email. A lot of mundane, repetitive tasks that come through emails, we can automate that, and that's what we're going to see today. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, how do we start off? I'll go into Studio, and we're going to slowly see everything, how to set everything up. So if you have Studio open with you, you can follow along. Okay. Now, if you go into your project, if you have any process open, any blank process open, just see if you have UiPath.mail.activities installed. A quick yes or no. If it is a no, I'll quickly show you how you can install that. Okay. So what you can do is you can just go into manage packages, go into all packages and just search mail. Yeah. So at the top, you will get uipath.mail.activities. Now, since I already have this installed, I had, for this particular demo, I have already installed it. You will get one installed option here. Click on that. It will give you an agreement page. Select on I agree and then click on save. Okay, that's how you can set up your mail automation workflow to start emailing stuff. Okay. People who are following along, let me know once you're done or if you're facing any issues.
Guys, you all can unmute and ask your doubts.
I'll wait for 30 seconds for questions.
No more questions from me. It's fine. I have activated, I think. My logo, I can see the mail activities.
Okay, perfect. Moving on, we'll talk about the different protocols that there are when it comes to emailing and the different activities we have within this. Once we download this uipath.mail.activities, now once that you've downloaded this, once you go into activities, you'll find stuff here. What you can do is just simply type search up mail and all these different kinds of activities will come up. And the other thing that you can do is you'll find some activities within app integration, mail. You can see all of this. We'll go through all of this one by one. And within integration as well, you'll find some activities. Okay. Any question? Okay, done. Perfect. Just a quick disclaimer for today. We unfortunately won't be able to go through Outlook stuff, all of this, because Outlook requires a business account to be associated. So, all of this will be, you will be able to do all of use these activities with an Outlook business account. We unfortunately have personal accounts. So I'll show you how, even if you have a Outlook personal account, I'll show you how you can use the other activities and automate your Outlook accounts. But for the bigger, the chunk of this demonstration, we're going to use Gmail. Okay. Moving to the different protocols that we saw. I'll open up. Yeah. Mail, if you see, we have IMAP, Outlook, POP3, SMTP. Okay. So anybody has any idea what IMAP is, what POP3 is, what SMTP stands for? Okay, I'm assuming it's a no, and I'll continue. IMAP stands for Internet Message Access Protocol. Okay. So what are these protocols basically? These are basically a set of rules for, communication over the internet to and fro. Okay. Which is why these are called protocols. And these are all standardized protocols so that no kind of data breach happens or all communications are always, secure. Okay. Which is why we have all these protocols in place. It's a lot like, how all websites are secured. And if you go into a website, you see it could be either HTTP or an HTTPS. So if it is an S, it has an SSL certificate associated with it, stuff like that. Okay. These are all, internet security measures. So what happens in IMAP is there is an email server. Okay. And you have your local devices, right? So all your emails go into this particular email server and these are stored there. So it's not like these emails come and they get stored in your own devices. So what happens is, if you're using IMAP to extract information or extract your emails, like what emails you've received over a period of time, you can check your emails on multiple devices. Okay. What happens is once you hit at the IMAP server, you can check it from your laptop, you can check it from your phones, you can check it from your tablets. Okay, because the emails are stored in a mail server. Okay, and it kind of gives you the effect that you are, accessing them locally. Okay. So one good thing about IMAP is you can access all your emails when using IMAP. You can access all your emails from multiple devices. Now coming to POP3. Now POP3 came before IMAP. Okay, so IMAP is kind of a generation after POP3. So POP3 stands for Post Office Protocol. Okay, this is the version 3, that is the latest version. POP2, POP1, they used to be used back in the 1980s. Currently POP3 is the latest version. So what happens here is it establishes a connection between the email client and the email server. Okay, the client being your whatever device that you're using and the email server. Okay, so difference between IMAP and POP3 is when in IMAP the emails are stored in your server, right? But in POP3 the emails are stored locally in your client, whatever device you're using. If you're using a laptop, if you're using a smartphone or anything. So once you download an email using POP3 or delete an email using POP3, it will not be visible in different devices. Okay, so that is the difference. With IMAP we can use multiple devices. If we use POP3, we can only access the emails in one device, and then those emails are not visible when we use different devices. Okay, now IMAP and POP3 are protocols for receiving emails or reading emails. Okay, and SMTP is a protocol for sending emails. Okay, so SMTP stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. What this does is basically it will, use a certain port and a certain server to send your email to whoever you want to use, who you want to send the email to. Okay. Coming into the practical part of this, before going into the practicals, since we're going to use Gmail, and I hope most of you have Gmail accounts. A quick yes or no?
Yes, we have.
Okay, perfect. So I'll show you how to, basically with today's day and age, Google and all these email accounts come with a lot of security and stuff. So we have to kind of enable IMAP POP3 access in our Gmail accounts. So I'll show you how to do that. So if you have Gmail open, you guys can, what you can do is quickly open up Gmail. If you're using laptops, it will be better. Just quickly open up Gmail. Okay, I'll wait for like 20 seconds. Okay. Go into settings, see all settings. Okay. Now here you will get an option called forwarding and pop IMAP. Okay. Now by default, generally your pop access and your IMAP access will be disabled. Okay. So what you have to do is just enable pop and enable IMAP. Okay. And then click on save changes. Following up until now, anybody facing any issues here? Because we have a second step of prerequisite. A quick yes or no?
Is this settings depending on machine, or is its changes happen with my profile with my account?
these changes will happen in your account. Okay.
Then
So
one
these are
machine I
not machine
update.
specific.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Bala, if you have just joined, if you can just quickly open up your Gmail, go to settings and go to forwarding and pop IMAP. You will see a pop download and an IMAP access. Just quickly enable both and you will be on track, okay? Okay. Moving on, anybody facing any issues here? Or I can move to the second step of the prerequisites. Okay. Moving on. So one setting is done. We've done up to grant enable access to POP and IMAP. Okay. Next, what we have to do is go to manage your Google account. So going back here, click on manage your Google account. Click on security. Now, after you click on security, in the search option, just search app passwords. Okay. You will get an option called app passwords. You can go in. Okay, it's asking for my credentials. Yeah. Everybody, let me know once you reach this point. I will wait for 30 seconds, okay? Okay. Hoping nobody has faced any issues. So you can see I already have this generated. I'll show you screenshots after this so that I don't want to reveal any passwords over the call. What you're going to have is, if you have never generated any passwords before, within the app passwords, it's going to show you an option like this. You don't have any app passwords and you have to generate, okay? So what you have to do is just select an app. So since we're doing email automation, just select mail and select the device you're on. So since we're using a Windows computer, we'll select Windows computer and then click on generate. Okay. So I'm not going to click on generate because I already have a password generated and set up. Once you click on generate, it's going to give you a app password like this. So I have it classified so that nobody else can see it. But yeah, generally this yellow box, whatever you have, that will be your app password. Okay. So for now, yeah.
I didn't get this app passwords. After typing search, I'm getting only password manager.
Password manager. Okay. Did you go to manage my Google account?
Yeah.
Did you go to security tab?
Yes.
Do you have two-step verification on?
Yeah. Off. It's off.
It's off.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess you have to set up your two-step verification as well for this to, work seamlessly. Otherwise, you're going to get into different configuration related issues. So better to set up your two-step verification and set up your app password separately.
Okay.
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 So as you can see, it's written here as well. App passwords let you sign into your Google account from apps on devices that don't support the two-step verification.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So You can.
Gitanjali, sorry for the interruption. Like, I have a doubt. Like, two-step verification is mandatory for this process, right?
For this
No,
steps, these,
for generating passwords for the
yeah,
device.
generating app passwords. Yeah,
Okay.
two-step verification is
Fine.
required. Yeah. Okay. So once you have that password, just keep it handy. Okay. Yeah. What I have done is I have set up my usernames and password into my orchestrator assets. Now, I know you guys have not, explored orchestrator that much up until now, and we have a session planned for that as well. But basically, just give you a very quick overview of what I've done is I've, gone into my cloud.uipath.com, and within that, within an asset, I have created an asset called a credential. Okay. If I select a credential, I can put in my username and my password. Okay. So that's what I've done. Just a quick overview. I don't want to give you too much information and confuse you. So that's what I've done. I've just set up my credentials here. And within my UiPath studio, what I have done is I've used the get credential activity. Okay. So this is the get credential activity. Here I've given the asset name that I'm going to use. So I've taken the Gmail credentials name that I've put in here. And in the properties, I've just put in the username and password variables. Okay. So if you see the username password variables, username is a string and password is a secure string. Okay. Just like how passwords are. So I have that set up for today, so that I can give you a nice little demo. Same I've done for Outlook as well, Outlook username and Outlook password. Okay. So you guys can set it up like this as well. There are different ways of managing credentials. We will get into those in separate sessions. Everybody following along up until now?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's solid.
Gitanjali, someone couldn't find the app passwords in Google Account Manager.
Okay, so has that person carried out the two-step verification?
Can you please confirm who has written it in the chat?
So your two-step verification is not set up, right? So if you just set up your two-step verification, okay, quickly check. I'll wait for your response.
After setting up two-step, I got that option.
You got that option? Okay, perfect. Is it you who is writing in the chat? I'm sorry, I'm not able to follow.
That person is another.
Okay.
Gitanjali, get credentials, this activity is for authentication purpose, right?
No, get credentials is basically, getting or taking your credentials out. Just, this is just a way to get this information into your studio workflow. That's all that it's going to do. It does not authenticate and or nothing it does. Okay. So if I don't want to give a lot of information because we will be covering these topics in a later session. But just so that you understand, I've just given an asset name. I've given a type. I've put in my username and password here. As you can see, you can't see my password even if you click on edit, right? So these are all, security measures that UiPath has taken care of. Okay. Now this information, username and password, this get credential activity only extracts this information. That's it, and stores it in two different variables. That's all it does. No other, authentication or anything.
Yeah, that I understood. Like it was, extracting those information from the orchestrator to the main studio, right? So
Right.
we are just telling the robot what to authenticate that email. Like that, I am telling. Like in this way.
Yes, we will be doing that because, if you, even if you log into Gmail or any email accounts, it's going to ask you for your username
Yeah,
and password, right?
like that, what is also doing the same.
Yeah. So these all emails and everything, since them being so secure, everybody has to authenticate themselves, even if you're a robot. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. So moving on, the person in the chat, just check if your two-step verification is set it up, then you'll be able to set up your app password. Moving on, I will uncomment this. We'll first check out the IMAP, okay? Yeah. So if you want to use IMAP, everybody has this setup, right? Your username and your password setup, okay? Whether you do it through get credentials or whether you, for this follow along purpose, you can have it hard coded in your variables for now. But just remember that is not a good practice, okay? To have passwords and anything with hard coded into your variables or arguments, okay? Always use any sort of credential manager. Okay, moving to IMAP.
Gitanjali, could you please repeat the statement once?
Yeah. So any usernames, passwords, any critical or sensitive information, always make sure that you don't hard code it anywhere, okay, within your automation. Like for example, if I have a password variable, you see my default is empty and I have not used any assign activities where I can put in my information, right? I have not put in anything here like this, okay? That is because the best practices for credentials, especially credentials, is never have them hard coded into your automations or any sort of code you're writing. Always use a credential manager or anything of that sort. Like for example, I've used a get credential activity. My orchestrator asset is the credential manager for me. Okay. Okay. Moving on to get IMAP mail messages.
I have one question.
Yeah.
In orchestrator asset, can I store any user ID password of mine?
Yes, you can store any user ID password.
If I want to automate any login in other website, that user ID password I can store in asset, and then I use the get credential for that, right?
Yes, you can.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Moving on to email automations and IMAP mail messages. Guys, don't worry about, assets and stuff. We will have a very detailed session on those as well. This is just a quick brief introduction on that. Okay. Drag and drop your get IMAP mail message. Okay. Now let's check out the properties. So within this, you can see it's asking for a port. It's asking for a server. It's asking for some logon information. Okay. And there are further options and stuff like that. Okay. Now I'll show you the settings. These are the settings for different mail service providers, email service providers. Okay. For Gmail, your server name will be imap.gmail.com. Port would be 993. Now, how did I find this information? I just went into Google and did IMAP settings for Gmail. Okay, and I'll get all information. Okay, you can just check any of these links and you'll find your information. That is the procedure. I mean, you'll get most of these ports. These are all default ports, default informations. So all of this will be the same for everybody, unless and until you are in a very secure organization and they have everything blocked or everything set up, firewall set up different. But since we are, using our own personal accounts, we have general settings for us. Okay. So yeah, this is my get IMAP mail message. Within the properties, put in port 993 and put in the server. If you're using Gmail, put in imap.gmail.com. If you're using Outlook, you can use outlook.office365.com. Okay, if you want, I can put this into the chat. Okay. Then client name, client version, all of this information is not really relevant for us. What we are going to just put in is the email account that we got from our get credentials, the username, and the secure password. Okay. Now, if you are, for now, again, just a disclaimer, do not hard code passwords, but if you are hard coding passwords for this, follow along, you use this option so that you can put in a hard coded password, whatever. Okay. And if you're using a secure string like I am, put it into your secure passwords option. Okay. Everything else we can keep blank. Okay. Now I'll come to options a little later. I want to show what else we have to do is in your messages of option in your output, create a variable. Okay, everybody knows how to create variables. Control+K. Create a variable, give it whatever name you want. I've given it Gmail messages. Okay. Now, what is this output? Basically, whatever information this get IMAP mail message extracts from your inbox, it's going to save everything into your this variable. Okay, let's check out the type for this variable. This is a list of mail messages. Okay, so each mail message that we extract is of type system.net.mail.mail message, and this one is just a collection of these mail messages. Okay, understood up until now? Anybody not following along? Confused? Anything? Okay, perfect.
Gitanjali?
Yeah.
What about that field OAuth in the properties? Yeah, use OAuth field.
Yeah. Use OAuth. If you put in, if you want, basically, if you check this, it's going to become true. If you don't check this, it's going to, you can leave it blank. So if you use OAuth, you're going to have to put in further information like client name, client version, then all other information. We kind of don't need this, okay, because we are using generic settings for our personal accounts. OAuth and stuff we use when we have further, firewalls blocking our emails. We have an added level of security. Your organization will give you all these OAuth tokens and stuff that you can set up your email activities from. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So let me see what emails I have. Yeah. Okay. Let me just do a quick refresh. Yeah. So you see, I have two emails right now. Both are called invoices. So let's assume we have, an automation where we have to read all unread emails and then basically extract the information from those. Okay. So I will be doing that. Put in a breakpoint, putting in a pause. Let me run this automation. So as you can see, get IMAP mail messages, this activity has run properly. Okay. Let me delete all of this, and you see, if I just show you my locals, my Gmail messages, the output has some information associated with it. Okay. Understood up until now? Now, how do we process all of this information that we are getting? Because this Gmail messages, this is kind of a collection of all messages that we have, right? Now, how do we process each email within that? So we've already talked about control flows, right? For each, while, if. I'm hoping everybody is aware of these. Okay, perfect. So just drag one for each in, and for your current item, put in the list of items as Gmail messages or whatever variable you've used in your get IMAP mail message. Okay, once you put that in, you'll see your for each will be running for the system.namenet.mail messages, right? Which this Gmail messages variable is a collection of, correct? Now I will run this automation again, and I will show you what you can do is extract different information of each of these emails now. Now, what this for each will be doing is, it will iterate through each email that this get IMAP has read, okay? So, for example, you can call this as current mail item, okay? So, if you see, I've already put in a right line just to, check the subject. So, what you can do is, put in current mail item dot subject. Okay, when you put in a dot, you'll see what all different things you can extract from that particular email. Okay, so if I put in current mail item and click a dot, let's see what are the things. We have alternate views, attachments, we can see who were kept in BCC, we can see the body of the email, we can see body encoding, this, CC, the date, delivery notification options, the from, all of this information, okay? Sender, the subject, the to, everything. So let's just put in body, okay? Understood up until now? Or any questions? Okay. Now moving on to going back to get IMAP mail messages. Okay, let's do one quick thing is before moving on to how you can, further fine tune IMAP. I'll show you how POP3 works. I'll show you how SMTP works. And then we'll go into finer details of all of these, okay? Moving on to POP3. Just drag POP3 in, okay? Same approach, we will put in a port, we will put in a server, we will put in our email ID, and we will put in our secure password, okay? And we will have an output as pop mails or whatever, okay? Yeah. For POP3, these are the settings. Same approach. If you want the information, server name, port name, just Google it up like POP3 settings for Gmail, POP3 settings for Outlook. You will get the general default information. Okay. Any questions up until now? Okay. The POP3, not much there because, this is kind of an older technology or an older protocol. This does not give us much things to do. We will check this out as well, but this mostly gives the same information as get IMAP. Moving to using SMTP. Within SMTP, same information, you can put in a body, you can put in your subject lines, you can And before doing all of this, the settings that the SMTP needs is the port number and the server name. Okay. Server for Gmail will be smtp.gmail.com. I'll quickly open this up. Yeah. For Gmail, these are the settings. For Outlook, these are the settings. Port will be the same. In fact, for all of these, I think the port should be the same. Let me double check this POP3 as well. Yeah. Gmail server name. These will be the settings. So once you put those in once, and then you put in your logon information, you can put in further information. Okay. Like hello, sorry, the subjects, the bodies, the to information, the CC information, the BCC information. Okay. So this is how you can use the settings to set up these activities. We will come back to this. I'm just commenting out for now. I will go back to IMAP now. Everybody following along? Any questions or doubts? We will be discussing each of these activities in detail now, okay? Okay. Now,
Can how you commenting those activities?
okay. So just select any activity, click on Control plus D. It comments it out. Okay. Now, if you want to, another way of doing is just click on the 3 dotted lines, like this. Click on these 3. You will see this has a disable activity. Okay. You can click that. That will also comment it out. And the shortcut is Control plus D. And if you want to uncomment anything, just click, the shortcut is Control plus E. It will uncomment. Okay. And if you want to do it through the options, you will find enable activity. You can do just that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now we've understood how get IMAP works, how POP3 works, and how SMTP works. Okay. Let's look into what else these things can do. Okay. Within get IMAP mail messages, we've already talked about the host part and the logon part. These we've covered. Now moving on to the options part. This is where we can start getting creative. Okay. I will first talk about mark as read, only 100 messages, order by date, secure connection, top. Okay. We will come to this ones later. Okay, mark as read basically means whenever the get IMAP mail messages reads any information, if you check this as tick, it will also mark that particular email as read. Okay. And if you don't have this checked up, it will not mark those as read. So based on your requirement, you can check it or uncheck it. Only 100 messages. This is the first level of filtering that you can do is, your email can have so many, thousands of emails. And what we can do is just have IMAP read only the unread email. So what it's going to do is it's going to only read these 2 emails that we have. Okay. Order by date. This means it's going to basically either it can go from an ascending order of reading emails or a descending order. What we want is it needs to read the newest emails first. What else can we have? We can also have it read the oldest emails first. Okay. So if you wanted to read from, all the emails come starting from the starting of the day, let's say 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. or like the timing wise, if you wanted to read the emails that have come first, you select oldest first. Otherwise, you can select newest first. Okay. Within secure connection for our generic this thing, generate the settings. We do not need anything. We can just have auto. Everything else is SSL on connect, start TLS, all of this information. These settings, again, these are all related settings. We kind of do not need those for our personal use. What is this top? This will mention what is the count of emails you want to get. Okay, right now I'm telling my IMAP to give me the first 30 emails, first 30, 100 emails that I have. Okay, you can change this to 100, 50, whatever count you want. Okay, so it's only going to extract the first this count of emails when this activity is running. Following up until now?
I have
Yeah.
a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
That means actually indicates filter expression character set.
Yeah.
Which is set for US ASCII.
Yes, I'll go to that. For starting from mark as read to top, any questions for these settings?
No.
Okay. Okay, coming to the top ones. Okay. Delete messages, same as if we select to a check, it's going to delete the messages. Filter expression also I will talk about in a while, or let's talk about filter expression right now. So what I've done is I've just set up a query, or like basically I've just asked my IMAP activity that, okay, I just want you to read the emails that have the subject line as invoice. Okay. How I've written this particular information, I will show you. Okay. What you can do is generally, all these, how to set up these expressions, you might not remember at all times. There's so many different, protocols and syntaxes that we always anyway have to remember. So if you want to understand what filter expression you want to use, what you can do is right click on the activity and go to help. Okay. Now, when you click on help for any activity in UiPath, it's going to open up the documentation for that. So as you can see, I now have get IMAP main messages. Within that, if I scroll down, I will get some filtering examples. So I can just check this out, refer to this, see what I want. Now here is, if you see, if you want to filter any emails that have the word welcome in it, you use this filter expression. And this is kind of what I have used for today's demonstration, but just instead of welcome, I'm using the word invoice. Okay. Similarly, there are different expressions that you can use based on your needs. Okay. Any questions on filter expression? Okay. Now moving on to filter expression character set. So what this basically tells us, do you guys know what US ASCII basically means? Sorry. Any idea what ASCII is?
It's a character set.
Yeah, correct. So basically, it's a character set for the numbers 0 to 9 and A to Z, and the certain further special characters, right? But what if I have emails that have GIFs present in them, videos present in them in the email body, or what if I have an email that is written in a completely different language altogether, which is not, English language. It does not use the characters or the alphabets of the English language. There, what I can do is I can, specify a different character set based on that. Okay. What you can do is just go into this particular URL. If you hover over it, you'll see the different character sets that you can use and basically use those. So for example, if you want your emails to read Chinese, you're going to have to use a different character set, right? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, Prof.
Yeah, somebody had asked a question, right? Okay. This is also another Boolean property where there is a thing called certification revocation list. It needs to, it basically checks for certifications and checks for certain firewall kind of settings within your server. And if we have false, I mean, for our general use, we can have it false, or the default value should not, matter to us. These are more for an org-wide settings. Okay. Yeah, I think we've covered all the options. Any doubts in these options?
Yes, should I always secure connection at auto?
Yeah, for your, general personal use, this should be just fine. And, and for whatever settings we have, auto should be just fine. These are generally kept as default. I mean, if you just drag and drop or get IMAP main messages, these will be default settings, and you don't really need to worry about those in general. But yeah, they just have further settings in place in case, your whatever account you're using, if it has further security settings set up within it. Like, for example, some of the clients that we work with, they don't have IMAP altogether. They have blocked these IMAP ports, like, for example, this 993 port that you're seeing, they've blocked it. That is, different organizations have different security protocols, and we just kind of have to set our automations up based on that, right? So for your hands-on, experiments, you can follow the general, default settings. That should be fine.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody following me up until here? I will move on to my for each. Yeah. So within for each, as you can see, we can get the current mail item. We can extract information from that. Now, excuse me, let's see, within my inbox, you see my emails have an attachment as well, right? I'll mark this as unread. So how do I make my automation at least download this attachment, right? Or read this email and understand, okay, this has an attachment as well. So let's say we want to put in, just for, further experimenting stuff, let's put in a condition like current mail item dot attachments, okay, dot count, okay, is greater than 0. So what are we checking here? We are checking if all the emails that we've extracted, if the email has an attachment or not. If the number of attachments is greater than 0, then we're going to do some operations on it. If it does not have any attachments, the dot count will be 0, right? So it will not satisfy our condition. Within the else, we can just put in a right line for our understanding. No attachments found. Okay. Following up until here. Yeah. Now, why did I put this condition in the first place? Why didn't I just immediately just read the attachment and move on, right? And can anybody answer that?
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, what I'm asking is, why did I use a condition to check if there are attachments or not? Why didn't I directly, download these attachments into my UiPath workflow directly? Like, for example, here I'm assuming the current mail has a subject and I'm doing a write line, right? What if I just immediately, for each email, I immediately save the attachment? Why am I using a condition to check first?
So maybe the mail have no attachment, only body and subject. So those
Right.
mail also read, and if the attachment is there, then we have to download the attachment to.
Correct. Give me a quick. Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's correct. Why are we putting in these conditions? Just always remember to have these conditions, because slowly you all are becoming very good at automating stuff. These checks and balances, always remember to put in your automations to make it as foolproof as possible. Okay. So the more checks and balances you have, the more things you're checking before carrying out any activity, the more your automation will be robust. Okay. Just
Sorry for
Mhm.
this. Actually, I have a question like, suppose if we don't check this condition, so will it create any performance issue while the
No,
automation is going on?
no performance issues, but your process will error out. Okay. Basically, let me quickly show you what I'm talking about. If you go into your mail activities, you will find an activity called save attachments. Okay. Let me drag this in. Now I'm using this within my if condition, right? It's already taken my variable current mail item. Okay. I will just give it some folder path to use. Let's say within my input folder, I'm going to save this attachment. Okay, let's run this first, then I'm going to talk about, yeah, I'll show you what happens if I don't put in this check. Okay. Yeah, so my save attachments has already run. So if I go into, let me just pause this automation here, and I'll go into my input folder. You see, my invoice is present here. These are all older tests that I had carried out, but yeah. Oops, sorry, I think I accidentally deleted the wrong attachments. But yeah, so it has saved the attachment into my input folder. Okay. Now let me put this here, and yeah, within my emails, let me have this test email as unread. Okay. And let's run this automation.
If we don't mention the attachment saved location, then in last session when I automate the PDF, if to a text file, that means copied, then if we don't given the target folder name, then it will automatically download it to the project folder. Means
Yeah.
the text file created in the is that same way work here? If I'm not mentioning the targeted folder, then it is automatically downloaded in the project folder.
Yeah, ideally that should be the approach. I mean, that's what should happen. So your file should be present here. Okay. Now for this one, what has happened is we have one email with invoice and one email with test. So it has just downloaded that particular invoice, right? But when we are using, for each activities, and we have multiple activities that we need to do within these attachments, it can error out when we are trying to read the attachment, right? Let's say if I didn't even have this one, my bot wouldn't have downloaded anything here, right? And that's where it could have errored out. Okay. So that's why we use these checks and balances to make sure that we are checking everything before carrying out any activity on it. Now coming to your question, let's test that out as well. Let me not put anything here. Okay, let's run this. Deleting this, going back to AutomationVidyalaya. Yeah. Let's check the AutomationVidyalaya, the invoices here. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's all about IMAP and attachments. Okay, we can also save the entire mail message just how we saved the attachments into a particular folder path. We can do the same with the entire mail message itself. So basically, if I drag this in, it's going to save the mail message itself into a particular file path. So yeah, let's put it into input. Okay. File name, let's give it some name like invoice, email, save. Okay. What else can we do? Okay. Yeah, this should be enough. Now if I check my input, you see the email has been saved here. We can open it up and it will open up the information. Right now I have to configure all of this account and stuff, but basically it's created a local copy of that email in my machine. Okay. So in the interest of time, let's not go into all of that. Yeah. So this is more or less everything about getting emails. Okay. You can use IMAP, you can use POP3. It's much recommended to use IMAP. It's better than POP3. So, go ahead and explore IMAP as much as possible. I'll comment this out because we've seen everything that there is within this. POP3, there isn't much settings as we checked. Yeah. Within POP3, you see, we don't get the option to filter. We don't get that many options itself. We just get the delete messages option. Okay. And logon and host information is the same as IMAP. We just have to put in our settings. Okay. So yeah, you guys can, anybody asking anything? Sorry, can you please come again? Your voice was not clear. Sorry, it's still not clear. Can you chat?
Shubham, you are not. Yeah, you can chat. You can write your message in the chat. Shubham, please. You are not audible actually.
Still, I'm not.
It's getting
no.
very, distorted. So
Yeah, it's distorted actually. You can type your doubt in the chat.
Yes, Shukam, we'll answer your question once you have it in the chat. For now, I'll move on. So POP3, same, getting mail messages like as in IMAP. Okay. And if you want to do further filtering, further processing, it's going to be the same. Like for example, if I use a for each here, okay, what is my variable? Pop mails, okay. Let's put in pop mails. Yeah. You see, this is also a collection of the same type, .net, .mail, .mail messages, okay. So we can do the same activities like current item. Let's take my item go. Current item dot subject, current item dot body, stuff like that. We can have the sender email address, all of that information. Okay. So
Gitanjali, sorry to interrupt. Shubham just wrote in the chat that he wants you to open the properties tab and show him what's exactly in the times out MS field request. Yeah,
okay.
something like that.
Timeout MS, right? So timeout MS basically, this means like we can specify a certain amount of time where the bot or the automation will take to connect to our servers or carry out this particular activity. You will find timeout in, I think, almost all of the activities. So MS is milliseconds. It's going to, set up how many milliseconds you're going to wait. So this by default is 30 seconds. What the automation is going to do is it's going to wait for 30 seconds for this activity to execute successfully. And this goes for all activities, okay? You see, this also has timeout. Generally, what else you can use? I'm not sure if Fraglines have timeout because they don't have anything. Yeah, but almost all activities that are carrying out any sort of proper execution of something will have a timeout associated with it. Okay, and generally the default is 30 seconds. So basically, what this timeout says is, if it is default, which is 30 seconds, the bot is going to, once the bot reaches here, it's going to wait for 30 seconds for this activity to execute successfully. Okay. If it is not executed successfully for whatever reason, let's say, it was not able to connect to the host or connect to the server or couldn't connect to the port, only after 30 seconds is it going to give us an error that he had tried for 30 seconds, did not happen. The maximum timeout has reached and I was not able to connect. This is an error. Okay, unable to connect error, it will give. So that basically is what timeout MS is, and it's kind of a general default value of 30 seconds and a general property that you find in almost all activities. Okay, and you can specify that. So if you want it to wait for any time more than 30 seconds, or if you wanted to wait for less than 30 seconds, you can specify that as well. Okay, so since it is milliseconds, let's say if you want to wait for only 15 seconds, we have to get 15,000 because this is milliseconds. This is in milli, okay? So 15 into 1000, if we just wanted to wait for 3 seconds, we just give 3000 like that. Does that answer your question? Okay. Okay. So we have covered getting all emails, okay? Before going into sending emails, I'll just quickly show you another way, a quick way, which is use Gmail. If you go into integrations, Gmail and Outlook, we have so many different activities we can carry out, okay? And most of these are for Outlook. These are not all of them are for Gmail. So just drag and drop this Gmail activity in here. And when you click on select an account, I already have a configured account. What you have to do is click on add new account and it will open up, Google tab, and you can put in your authentication information there, your passwords and stuff. And what it is going to do is, it's going to create a connection with your Gmail account. And after creating that connection, you can use the send email activity to send emails and stuff. Okay. Commenting this out, going into SMTP now. Okay. Now, as we discussed, SMTP is for sending emails. Yeah. So SMTP is for sending emails. What we can do is, within the two, we can put in the email IDs of the people we want to send emails to. If you want to send emails to multiple people, what you do is you put in the email, you can put in the email IDs like this: Gitanjali, Mishra, 18@gmail.com, and then just put in a semicolon and put in another email address. I do not have any other email accounts that I know of. Let's just put in the same for now. Like that, you can put in multiple email addresses. Okay. What is that? Okay, this is expecting a string, right? Oh, sorry, my bad. What you need to do is just give a semicolon within a string. All the email addresses, you have to put in one single string, okay? And it will send it to all of the multiple email recipients. So I just have one for now. We can put in a subject, we can put in a body, we can put in attachments as well. So within the properties, what you can do is, there are two ways to put in attachments. You can click on attach files, create an argument, and put in a path for whatever attachment you want to send. So for example, I want to send this, right? I'll just extract the path for this. The full path, and then I'm going to give the file name as well. .xlsx, okay? And this is going to have that attachment when I send this email, okay? Attachments, you can have multiple attachments. You can send in multiple attachments, just keep on creating arguments, okay? This is another way of sending attachments. You can use an IEnumerable string and have multiple locations, just how we have used this. You can have that in one particular string and just paste it here. So this can be a little advanced for you, so you can ignore this one and just use this attachments collection. Okay. Same display name, timeout. We have a body. We can put in a body. Okay. We have a subject. Okay. This forward one I'm going to come back to. Post, again, we used the SMTP settings. Okay. And then within the logon information, we put in our email and our password. Okay. And then we have other further information. Okay. Within that, there is a continue on error, which basically means, if, we are not able to send an email message, we don't want to break the flow of the process. We just want it to continue executing the subsequent activities. Okay. That is what continue on error is. Again, ignore CRL is body HTML. What this does is we can have our email bodies, right? Like this one. This is just a simple plain text information. Or we can have very, fancy looking emails as well that have a table, that has different fonts, all of that. So for that, what we have to do is we have to create our body. Like for example, this one, you can see this is just a very simple string. We haven't put in any fancy stuff into it. Okay. So it's just going to go like this. But if we want to put in fancy stuff, we have to create a HTML body. I'm going to show that to you very soon. So just hold on, okay? We'll talk about this is body HTML again. And what else? Yeah, reply to we're going to talk about as well. This is where we put in the email address. We can use SMTP to reply to people as well, right? Reply as well as forward, like we saw somewhere. Where did we see that? Yeah, forward, right? We can use SMTP to forward or reply to mail messages. We're going to talk about that a little later. Output you can have, or it's okay if you don't have it as well. That's just that will just show you if your email has been executed successfully or not. For this activity, it's okay if you don't have it. Receiver, we can have a to address, we can have a CC, and we can have a BCC here, right? And then sender is another unique property of SMTP, where you can put in a different alias email or an alias name, okay? What I mean by that is, see, I've put in my name as Geet, but my actual email is, oh, sorry. Actual email name is Gitanjali Mishra, right? So if I run this activity now, we are running out of time. See, I have received an email called Hello SMTP. It has an attachment as well, okay? And the email body, this is a test email. So that's how, using SMTP, we can email stuff to people, send attachments and everything to people, okay? Now, coming to the is body HTML activity, okay? Let's say we want to, right now we just used a very basic text, right? But let's say we want to use a very fancy looking email, we want to send a very fancy looking email that's got a lot of different things, but we cannot put all of that as a string, right? We have to use something that can put in all of those properties into our email body as well. So for that, what we do is we create an HTML content, okay? So you will find an activity called create HTML content. You can drag that in, open the editor, and you can just start creating your content. So we can say, hello, Automation Vidyalaya. Great to have you all here. Let's put this as bold. Let's change the color to a nice, I changed it to yellow. Yeah, change it to yellow. Let's add a table. Okay, whatever table that is. And let's say we put in, session details here, right? Speaker, time and stuff. Time, Zoom link. Okay, and let's just give anything, comments and stuff. We can have just random information here for now. Okay, we can keep stuff blank as well. Then just have a quick signature. Click on save. Okay, and whatever we created here, what we're going to do is we are going to store it in a variable called my HTML body. Now within this body, what I can do is I can use this my HTML body variables. And if I don't have this isBody HTML check, it's going to come as a very distorted HTML information. I'll show that to you as well. First, let's just check out how the email looks now. Okay. So you see, it's put in all of this information in a very nice format for us. It's got the attachment, everything is here. Now, let's not have this check and run. So you see, it's giving us some HTML information, whatever this variable, my HTML body, contains all of the information as a string. It's coming. It's not coming as the nice little email that we had created before. So understood the importance of this particular check, isBody HTML. Any questions up until now?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I was through IMAP, or when I downloading any attachments or something, so can we change rename it while download?
While downloading, let me check. We had save attachments here, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, what you can do is, let's give it as input slash, let's say we don't want it to call invoice. I want it to call my invoice dot XLSX. Okay. Always at least two invoice. Let's try this out. Do we have anything on track? No, we don't. Okay, let's have all of this. Yeah. It is not running. Inputs. This seems to have not done. Let me check. Find me an item. Item messages. Invoices. This has an import. Put in a breakpoint. This. So going into this for some reason, let me check why. Okay, sorry. My bad. It's because we do, our filter expression condition is not matching, right? So we are just filtering through the expression if it has invoice, and we are trying to read subject lines hello SMTP. So it's not reading, right? So these are, small things that you might end up missing sometimes. Let me just remove that for now, so that we can test this theory out. saved attachments. Let's see, yeah. So within, so we cannot rename it while we are saving the attachment. Okay, it's still going to be the same name. As you can see, the name that I have put in, it's marked it as a folder instead of renaming the file itself. Now, how you can rename the file is, once you have saved the attachment, what you can do is go into your activities and find the rename file activity. Put that in. Give the file path where your attachment is present, which is invoice slash, sorry, my bad, input slash invoice dot xlsx, and then put the new name as my invoice or whatever. Okay. We have a keep extension, which means it will keep the .xlsx extension. Okay. And you can run that. Yeah. Let's remove the breakpoints. Oh, do we have the file here already? Oh, okay. We have two separate emails, which is why it caused an issue. Let's do that again. So we have the renamed file here. Okay. The issue that happened before that is we had two emails with the same invoice name, right? So the bot carried out all the actions correctly for one of these emails, and then for the second email, when it downloaded the invoice, when it saved the attachment, and we are trying to rename it to the same name again, since that file name already exists, it threw an error that this file already exists. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that is how you can do saving attachments and stuff. We have checked all SMTP activities as well. I think we're at the end of, yeah, filtering emails we've already seen, right? And sending emails also we've already seen. Email integration, Outlook integration, we unfortunately couldn't see because we don't have a work account. We all have personal accounts. But yeah, that is the overall gist or idea about email automations, all the things that we can do within an email automations. What you guys can start trying out is start taking up small use cases, start reading emails from your own inbox. Let's say a particular professor sends out, homework over email to you, right? And if you don't check your email, you might forget to, carry out that assignment, and you might not get the good marks that you deserve. You can create a quick automation that whenever you run, it just filters emails for that particular professor, extracts the body of those emails, and just paste it into any file or anything, or you can have a write line and just read whatever that particular email contains. So small things like that, you can start trying out, start experimenting with all these activities. And yeah, email automation actually is a very good way for bots to communicate with humans as well. So generally in, when we are carrying out org level automation, what we do is we use email automation as part of our other automations. We integrate these activities with the rest of the automation so that, if the bot errors out somewhere, it's going to send us an email. Or if it has carried out some action successfully and it needs to notify the business that, hey, this is done. Now you can carry out the rest of the activities. It can send out an email. So email automation is a very good formal way for the bot to, communicate with business users or whoever is in the organization. Okay. That is the end of the session. We are already over time. I hope everybody was not bored. Do you want to quickly move on to the quiz, or do you want to have a Q&A session first and kind of clear out your doubts before you play the quiz?
You guys can unmute and ask your questions.
First, complete the quiz
You want to complete the quiz?
from my
Oh,
side.
okay.
Let other speakers.
Okay. You want to take up the challenge? Nice. Everybody
Yes,
else?
The link for the quiz has been shared in the chat. So once you all click on the link, you all will be redirected to a page where you all have to put the code, and then the quiz will be started. And guys, if you all want to join through phone, then you can scan the QR code and then it will be redirected to the page. And please confirm in the chat if you all have entered in the quiz or not. Not in the quiz, in the Minty web page. Okay, Krishnendu has joined, and others. Eleven players.
Feel free to join, guys. Going to be a quick quiz, simple questions, everything that we've studied or understood. And if you have any question or any doubts, feel free to ask now as well. No pressure. Okay.
And guys, please join in with your real names, okay? So that we'll be getting your emails and all. And the leaderboard will be also shared on the screen. Gitanjali, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. Thank you. 19 players have joined. 20.
We'll wait for 30 more seconds, Shantanu, and then we can start, okay? Because we're already over time.
Okay. If you all guys are facing any issues, then you all can unmute yourselves and ask.
Okay, then let's get started. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
So the question is, using IMAP, we can do the following activities. Option A is get mails. Option B is send mails, and C is both. Guys, make sure to answer fast. The points will be allocated that way only. Okay,
Okay,
get mails.
good job. 10 people. Let's see who's at the top.
Yeah, it's Arijit.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Get ready.
SMTP does not allow us to send attachments with our emails. The options are true or false. 18 have answered. 19. One more to go. Okay. 14 have answered false, and it's the right answer. It's Arijit again.
Okay, everybody ready?
The question is, POP3 allows user to access emails from multiple devices. Yes or no? So the right answer is no, and 6 have answered.
Okay,
Let's,
so
yeah.
yeah, that's the major difference we talked about, guys, about between IMAP and POP3. When you're using IMAP, you can access the same emails using multiple devices, but POP3 does not give us that functionality. Okay, just something for you to understand the difference. Yeah, moving on to the next question.
The question is, if we get any email that contains an attachment, the attachment gets auto downloaded. It's true or false? One more to answer. Okay. It's false.
Okay, job people.
Arijit is leading the board.
Okay, second last question. Let's go.
We do not need to put a server name for IMAP, POP3 or SMTP. Only port number is required. True or false? The answer is false.
Yeah.
9 have answered.
So for all these settings, we do need the server and the port. Okay, it always is both of these information that the activity will be needing from you. Okay. Okay, last question. Everybody ready?
Go for it, guys. We can use HTML body while sending emails. Yes or no? So it's yes.
Okay.
17. And yeah, it's Arijit again, and Arijit has won the quiz session. Arijit, congratulations on it. And please type in your email in the chat.
Congratulations, Arijit. Yeah, that was the quiz. Good job, everybody. Everybody listened attentively, even though I think it was a little information heavy for you all. Good thing that you all absorbed all of that information really well. Moving on to the Q&A session, let's clear all the doubts you have now, okay? Don't hesitate to ask questions.
Yeah, guys, feel free to ask any questions you have from this first session or the session we have conducted today.
Yeah, actually, I have 3 questions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first is in my project, in my work project. So I use whenever user registered in our portal, they will when they are successfully registered, they will receive an email from our side. So what is the difference between that sending mail and in UiPath sending mail? That is also automation, or this is that was not automation?
So in your project, what kind of technology did you use? Like what languages, what technology stack?
ASP.NET C#.
C#, right? Yeah. So there also you probably use like Microsoft DLLs, right? Outlook DLLs and stuff to send emails.
Yes.
If you created
We use SMTP,
SMTP DLLs. Okay. Yeah. .mail namespaces, right? So basically, you know, what happens is within that, you can say that is also a form of automation. Basically, that is an automated email sending out or getting triggered whenever anybody is registering for your application or your website. That also comes as a part of automation. So there's no specific difference because, you know, within UiPath in the backend that it also uses these libraries and these namespaces like we were talking about, right? In imports, this also uses these SMTP activities, all of this namespaces that you have used in a way from scratch, right? For your project. Yeah. So functionality wise, they are not, you know, there's no difference.
Okay, that means that is also automation and this is also automation, right?
Yeah, but one difference between those things are, you know, your automation is very specific to your project or your application, whatever you are developing, right?
Yes.
And UiPath, you know, in general, it automates pretty much everything, right? So you can have these email automation put into anything and everything.
Yes.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
And another question is out of this session actually I am I'm practicing one project in UiPath Studio that I want to log in my to automation that I provide. That's why asking that in asset I can save user ID and password. In my project I hard coded the user ID and password in a variable. But the problem is I have an say that call what is called. I totally forgot that text. Yeah, no credential. No. That text which have alphanumeric and I have to check and.
Hello.
Okay, whatever it is, but I use OCR text to retrieve that text, and then I put it type into the text box. Okay, in using the select and anchor, that kind of thing. So in that I have a problem. You can tell me the activity where I can convert that text I copied through OCR, and I want to convert that in small case.
Okay. So just giving you a quick syntax for that. Okay. I'm not sure how you've kept your, you mentioned you've hard coded it into a particular variable, right?
Yes, only user ID and password I hard coded, but password using secure text with the secure text, but I hard coded is I typed there.
Okay, so let's say we have a user ID and a password. Your password is a secure text. Okay, let me just quickly create that. Okay. You have your information here. Let's say username ABC and some information. Will this take any information? Yeah. So you put this in as whatever, right?
Okay, I got it. That is captcha text. Sorry, I totally forgot.
Okay, you've put in captcha text. Okay. So
Yes,
basically the data type is secure string, right?
Yes. Data type is
Okay.
secure, but I
Yes.
wanted to know that they are told that I must type the captcha in a small case, but the captcha display here in a capital case.
Okay. So let's say you did the OCR stuff, you have the variable type as secure string, you have the information in a secure string information, right?
Yes.
I just have another password pass string variable right now, just anything random. What I can do is two things, okay? First of all, just check if you can, do if when you're doing that get OCR text, see if you can extract the information in a string directly instead of using a secure string. That would be a lot easier for you, okay? Meaning you don't have to convert the secure string into a string again and then carry out further manipulations within that. Just check if you can directly use a string. If not, let me show you a quick way of what you can do is, let's say you have a secure string now, okay? Just take up an assign activity. I'll give you a quick syntax. Just put in new, okay? System dot net dot network credential, okay? Give double quotes, keep it as empty. Now you see network credential is a method that takes in two parameters, a username and a password, okay, as string. Here you can put in your pass variable. Then come out of the bracket, put a dot and take password, okay? This syntax is going to convert your secure password into a normal string. I'll put this in the chat for you so that you can test it out.
Okay, I screenshot.
Understood? Yeah. This is step one for you. Okay. If you don't have, if you have a secure string password, this is step one. Step two.
I want to convert the case into a small case.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to show you now. So now, because we had a secure string, we first had to change it into a string, okay, a normal string, so that we can carry out further manipulations within that, okay. So we've changed it to a string variable. Our information is in this pass string variable. Now, again, in a assign activity, put in a pass string. Now, what value you're going to put here is pass string dot to lower. Okay, that's it. Yeah. So everything in capital will become small cases.
Okay, dot to lower.
Yeah. Dot to lower should, help you out. So also another just a side note, try to see if you can extract the get OCR text as a string directly so that you won't have to use this, a conversion of secure string into a string.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Understood? Any
Yes, I understand.
other question?
Yes, yeah. That
Go ahead.
mail every session you send us the mail for the meeting link, that 24 hours, after 24 hours, I have a session. Every time I receive the mail. This is also automated from your side.
Apurva, I'm not sure if you've automated this.
Yeah, so that is going to you from UiPath directly, okay? And that is also automated, but not with UiPath. So as you mentioned that you have developed a project where you are using .NET Code or C# code just to send the automatic mail once
Yes,
you are
yes.
receiving new registration, right? So that is
Yes,
that
yes.
kind of stuff,
Okay,
but not with
okay,
UiPath.
okay, 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 I got it.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody else? I'll wait for 30 more seconds. Please come up with your questions. And on a side note, guys, please, practice all these activities, explore them on your own. Give, random information into the properties and see what happens. The more, errors you can cause in the automation, the better you'll understand what is needed and what is not needed, and how the automation work and how all these activities work. So that would be really great for your understanding. Okay, I assume nobody else has any further questions. We can conclude the session. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, over back to you, Shantanu.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Hope you all liked the session, guys, and make sure to register for tomorrow's session. And the chat link for the group has been sent on in the chat as well. So make sure to join it. Yeah. So we can conclude now. Gitanjali, thank you, and Apurva, thank you for this session.
Thanks all. Have a
Okay,
great
thank you
night.
all.
Bye-bye. Good
Good
night.
night,
Good night.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.